Yo, what's up, y'all? This philosophical from the Let's Rap podcast, and this is your Freedom Friday. What's been on my mind this week, and I've spoken about this a little bit with a lot of my friends, people in general this week, and I just wanted to kind of relay this message to you guys: the fact that we as men and women, we're losing our identity, or if you're in a relationship right now, and even pending marriage, we're losing our identity in these relationships and we're losing our identity in marriages. And let me speak on that, right? When I say losing our identity, right? We as men and we as women, we enthrall our whole life into our partner. For men, it can be in terms of if she's so attractive, right? We're we're enthralled and so inept and so in awe in the fact of how beautiful she is the fact that we do anything in this world to gain her attention, right? And I'm talking about like in terms of we're masking and putting our partner's needs in front of our own, and we enthrall our whole world in terms of just it's all about them. Whether that on men's side, would that be attractiveness or status, right? On the woman's side, that may be finances, that may be status, and that may be a power struggle, right? And the and that's the real problem today, right? Is that for a specific reason that attracts a certain man to a woman and vice versa, what attracts a certain woman to a man is the fact that when we get with a certain person, we lose our identity. We lose who we are. We become content with another person's needs, right? Based off of attraction, status, money, wealth. And my question is, why? My question is why do we have the need to, when we get with someone, we feel we have to stop our own life? We stop our own goals. We stop the ambitious results that we were trying to get to before. Now we're with somebody, we become enriched and enthralled with their life, their needs, what they say. And it's borderline toxic because we as men, we get with women and we stop our goals and we become pleasers 100% to a woman and catering to a woman's identity 100%. And you may not even agree with that identity. Women are catering to men's identity for a certain thing, and in result, they may not agree with that identity. And the question is why? And I'm not saying that we shouldn't support each other, but again, we gotta have some type of identity, gotta have some type of life outside of your partner. And that's such a problem today that we get with people and we feel like our lives don't matter when they do, to a point where men are going to work just to fit a certain need to support their wife 100%, neglecting and ignoring their own needs. Men are afraid to even do things for themselves today because they have to resort to asking for permission to a woman to do anything. And my question is why? That's your form of submission? I call it permission. Women feel like they have to submit to a man to do certain things based off of that's the right thing to do, right? But the thing is, that's the right thing to do in your mind, right? And I'm not even speaking on, let's not even speak on like crossing the lines of disrespect or boundaries or anything. I'm not even speaking on that. I'm speaking on terms of losing your identity to someone that clearly is not thinking about your identity, your life, what you need. And you're shutting down and you're ignoring what you need in life based off of to please someone that could potentially be the wrong person for you. Point blank, right? We as men, I can speak for myself. I dated women out here and I was so like happy. But let me explain that happiness. That happiness was only based off of the attraction that that person brought, right? And when I say attraction, that means when we go out, how does she dress? How does she look? How does she perform in bed? Any type of way to better that attraction than the way it already is, I would have to spend so much time and effort and money to fit that mode of attraction that she brought to the table, but also I fed into. But at the end of the, but also at the end of the road, I realized that's all she was bringing. Sometimes when a person only brings a certain thing to the table, you're feeding that. That's all she can bring to the table. That's all he can bring to the table. When you're feeding a certain level of status, wealth, attractiveness to a person that's all they're bringing to the table, 9 times out of 10, that's all you're going to get. And the fact that we lose our identity, we lose ourselves in that idea that we're okay with just feeding a certain attractiveness, wealth, a status that that's all this person brings to the table is ignoring the needs that we can have to make it a partnership is a problem. You're 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road and you're feeding this attraction for 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. You know how the opportunities you're shutting down for yourself, the understanding the needs that you need that you're ignoring, and it creates a resentment that you have for this partner, but you have to obligate to a certain narrative because you have to feed that, right? You got to be able to feed the wealth, the status, the experiences, right? Forget your identity, forget what you need, forget what you want to do. You've become a puppet, a robot to someone else 100%. And that's the problem. We become, as men and women, puppets in relationships, puppets in marriages. And we can't make decisions because we have to do hang on by the strings or press a button and we're being told what to do and we're doing it, right? To feed their identity, but ignoring your need, your wants. We're feeding their needs and wants 100%. And that's the problem with dating, relationships, and marriage today. We're feeding someone else's identity, but who's feeding ours? And I'm speaking for men and women. Men, you're catering to a certain attractiveness to a woman 100% for years. Do you know how much money, effort, time, and opportunities you're missing because you are ignoring the identity, your identity, and needs and wants? And you're feeling like you need her to be look a certain way every day. You need sex every day, every other day. But it's more than that. It's more than just like the attractiveness all the time, the experiences all the time. It's more than that. Can you have a conversation with this person? The problem is you can't talk to a person about the needs you need from her because you're afraid that she can't give it to you. And you know that. We as men, we want to be powerful. We want to be successful. We want to be financially successful. But you're with a person that can't help you or support you in terms of bringing that into fruition. Why? Because you've ignored your identity of needs and wants because you've put 100% in the needs of wants and thinking about what she needs. Ladies, right? You're so enamored on how much money a man can spend on you. You're so enamored on the experiences a man can take you, but you're not looking at the long term effect of being happy in a relationship. You're trying to convince a man to be with you when you're only presenting a certain type of toxic narrative, sex and attractiveness. You're not bringing anything else to the table. You're not bringing a certain, you're not bringing anything to the table outside of the shallow, the what society tells you you need to do to get a man, which is sex and look good. But the problem is you want to be powerful too. But you equate powerfulness to independency instead of you want to be heard, you want to be needed, you want to be feel like your identity can be heard too, but you're only bringing attractiveness and how much you can spend money on me and the experiences to the table, right? And there are men out there that are catering to that, but that's all you're gonna get. You're not gonna get success. You're not gonna get the emotional attachment you need. Yeah, you may get the nice purses and nice clothes, but that's all you're gonna get. You may get the nice trips, but that's all you're gonna get. When it comes down to conversations about becoming a millionaire, starting a business, right? Can he be a good husband? Can he be a good father? He doesn't see you in that light. But those things are your true identity. But he doesn't see you in that light, right? Men, late brothers, my brothers, you are now looking at women just for the attractiveness and the looking good as far as how can you keep up with that, and you're spending so much effort, time and money into that that's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get if you put your focus into that, into their identity, to the fact that that's all you're going to get. Don't complain on the fact that you want more when you have ignored your needs and your identity in relationships. Some of you are in those type of relationships right now. Some of you are in these marriages right now and trying to figure out how to fix it, but you forget that you have to be able to have an identity. And both of you have got to understand what you need and want out of dating, a relationship, and a marriage. And that's the problem. No one's communicating on the fact that and setting boundaries on the fact that this is what I need, this is what I want out of the dating process, out of the relationship process, because we're sacrificing our identity. We're sacrificing who we are as people, our needs and wants. We're sacrificing. And the real problem is the fact that we're sacrificing for years and years and years of our mental, our time, our bodies, our soul into someone to cater to their attention. But the problem is that attention you're feeding, that's all you're going to get. And we're spending years to try to change that. When that person, that's when the person you're with, that's all they know. Right? So free yourself and go into situations, dating, relationships with your identity, being who you are, setting boundaries to the fact that what you need and what you want out of a relationship is accomplishable. You can get that. But you have to choose the right person. Same thing with you, ladies. If a man is choosing you, you got to have your own identity. Not every man out here is about only about wealth, money, how much money he can spend on you, the type of trips he can take you on. That's not a relationship. That's a sugar daddy. Point blank. We're missing the key foundations of right now. People are in relationships right now that are catering to the one person, and we're calling it happiness. That person that you're catering your happiness to 100% to the other person, they're calling it happiness. Well, you're sitting in the corner depressed and trying to figure out How can I feel valued and have my identity back? Because I've given it to someone else and they're calling it happiness. And it's not happiness, it's selfishness on their part and your part because you're feeding so much energy into it. So free yourself, have an identity, be who you are in relationships. And if that's not good enough, if who you are isn't good enough, the person you've chosen, then you've made the wrong choice. Period. Make sure you guys follow Let's Rap. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, comment. Love your feedback. Make sure you guys follow us on all the socials on Let's Rap Podcast. I'm Philosophical from the Let's Rap Podcast. I'm out.